Hey, I'm Anthony with Hawaiʻi Farms, and welcome to another episode of Groundwork to Grow. I'm here with Emily Ta'aroa of Punachicks Farm, and we're gonna take a little tour and learn about your livestock business.
Right on. Yeah, we've been in business about 11 years now. Our main enterprise is the broiler chickens, pasture-based. And we also have laying hens. We also have dairy cows and beef cows. Good photo ops.
Oh.
Yes.
So what'd you say you have what and
These
what?
are broilers. So this is 800 broilers that we do every 2 weeks. And then the other side is 600 layers. So we have Cornish cross and red stars. And so something different that we do that most people probably don't is that we use peat moss as a bedding, which is a lot, it's more expensive, but it's a lot just more effective at absorbing any moisture. And it keeps the pH level better too than wood shavings, a lot better.
Oh, so
And
what's
so you don't get
happening
as
now?
much
You gotta
ammonia
put booties
smells.
on?
Huh? Yeah, biosecurity booties. So we don't want to track any disease from outside inside. We didn't used to do this. You could probably get away at small scale without biosecurity measures, but it's always a good idea to keep your chickies healthy.
Yeah. You don't hatch them yourself? Do you bring them in?
No. We get, the only local hatchery in Hawaii is Asagi, A-S-A-G-I, Asagi in Oahu, which is an old family company, and they don't even raise necessarily the chickens here. They just hatch the eggs, but at least it's a shorter distance for them to travel, so a lot less stress than shipping them in from the mainland. We got to get these guys out in the field before the next batch comes in next week Thursday. So they're 1 week old now. So we got to get them out right at 2 weeks so we can move the next batch in. 2 weeks for broilers, yes. For layers, I'd say 3 weeks is a better time frame to have them protected in the brooder, 3 to 4 even.
So these ones are just about ready?
Yeah, these guys are 6.5 weeks. I want to say close to 7. Yeah. Gee, fly away.
Do your kids help around or do they like it?
Yeah, my son who's 7, he does a lot of, he's actually at the age where he can come and feed chickens and do a lot of things. He can lift a 50-pound feed bag.
Oh.
So our main product is the broiler chickens. So we're raising about 1,600 a month right now. So we process roughly 400 per week right here on the farm. They go to many different markets. We have restaurants, butcher shops, stores, direct-to-consumer sales. So we're pretty well spread in that department.
So you have like a big sales and marketing team that does all of that?
No, it's me. We don't use distributors at all. I do all the contacts to the chefs and whatnot. But it's pretty easy. We try and keep everybody on standing orders, so it's minimal contact unless they need to change anything.
And Emily, you've kind of become like a legend in the game of livestock, and especially poultry here on the Big Island. How did that happen?
Well, I was inspired by Joel Salatin of Polyface Farms, of course. He wrote some books on pastured poultry. There's a lot of information about how to do these types of systems where it's a daily moves for the broiler chickens, and the hens it's weekly moves. Rotational grazing systems with the cows. It works really well. It's a great system. We were one of the first farms in the state to do broiler chickens.
One of the first in the state to do the broiler chickens, and then you became the first in the state that got the USDA 20,000
crossing exemption, and so it kind of grew from there.
Yeah.
So we were the first that got the USDA processing exemption, and we worked with the inspector at the time, and he was really stoked that somebody was finally doing it. And so we had to he kind of educate the Department of Health that it's not their area. It's not their jurisdiction. So, but like as far as processing operations, that's strictly under USDA, not state.
So federal USDA regulation. So if you didn't have the exemption, then that would mean there'd have to be a USDA inspector on site.
On site every time you process, yeah.
Every time you process.
But as long as you stay under 20,000 birds and are labeled appropriately, you have an exempt statement on your label, and the inspectors come out about once a year or so and inspect your facilities. Still allows you to sell to restaurants, retail, pretty much everything.
And how far away are you from 20,000?
Oh, we've been at 20,000 for a while. Yeah, we're right there.
Got it.
So we're not growing anymore on the broiler side. We're just trying to squeeze more profits out of what we already have, like making value added stuff.
Yep.
So we came up with all our own pen designs and whatnot. We started with the Joel Salatin design. But that works really well maybe in Virginia, but over here in Puna with our rain, it did not work so well. There was too much water getting into them. And that's the dolly that I was talking about. You see the dolly, we put it behind and it raises it up a little bit, and then each one has a handle, and then we just walk them forward. So because of the broiler pens and all the manure running through all of our pastures, we had to bring in grazers pretty quick, because otherwise we'd spend all day mowing grass, because with all the nitrogen going down, there's a lot of grass in the pasture and it regenerates really quickly. So that's why we first got into like goats a long time ago, and then sheep, but we worked our way up to cattle, because this is the type of fencing we can use for cattle right here. Like sheep and goats are really hard to fence, but cows are just fine with a one-strand electric, as long as they're tame cows and they're trained.
Oh.
It's electric, yeah. It's a magic rope. It doesn't even have to be on half the time, and it still works if your cows are trained to it.
So now how many cattle do you have?
We have 6 that we're actively milking, or will be actively milking, and then we have a bull and their calves, and then we have 6 beef cows as well. That feeds us, and we do sell a little bit of it by the half or quarter or whatever. But it's basically free meat, other than our labor, because the grass is free. We don't feed them anything besides grass.
Yeah.
So it's easy. So we usually maintain 3 sets of layers, one that's a little older, one that's younger, and then one that we're starting out with. Because I think the trick to having a profitable laying hen business is that you want your birds never older than 2 years old. But we found if you can sell like a small egg enterprise, if I was going to do 100 or something, to give somebody advice to be profitable, I would take them up till 18 months. I'd use the red stars. They're like a prolific layer. Take them up to 18 months, sell them to somebody else for a backyard layer at that point for like $15, $20. You get all your money that you put into them at the front end out of the back end, and then you get rid of them.
Yeah, that's really good, because we have a lot of, especially for beginning farmers.
What do you do at the end? What do you do? Because that's the problem people make. They can't do that part at the end. They can't either slaughter them or get rid of them. Then they end up with a bunch of 3-year-old hens, and why am I not making any money? And that's the problem. Yeah. So we have these big houses that get moved with the tractor once a week, typically.
How many employees do you have? Besides your son?
Yeah. Well, we got 3. So we usually have a couple work traders too. Plus me and my husband full time. So
yeah,
we don't work outside jobs anymore.
Yeah, that was gonna be my other question. Are you a full-time farmer?
Yes, I've been full-time farming for, I want to say 3.5 years. It's been a while. Yeah. But the first 8 years of running the farm, I was working full-time and dumping every dollar into this farm. So you really, really got to sacrifice to get to a point where you can be a full-time farmer. We took on the egg business during COVID, and that was the breaking point when I could not maintain another job and manage the eggs. It's tough, and I think it's pretty rare to be able to have a full-time income for a family on the farm. Yeah, it's difficult. It's not easy.
The financing, how you finance the operation?
Yeah, of course. We started with a micro loan from Farm Service Agency. That was our very first loan. FSA. It was like $7,500. It built us our storage shed and our first couple of pens and bought us our first pallet of feed. And we've done pretty much everything in the book as far as financing.
Okay.
Grants, loans. I've done every loan, ag loan you could imagine. So it started with the FSA loan, then this land, and most of our big loans are under State Department of Ag. Okay. We've done Kiva loans, 2 of them. We've done the Kuhiel micro loan through Kohala Center, personal loans, pretty much mostly every grant you could possibly think of as well. So even with all that, it took me 8 years to be able to quit my full-time job. So it's a long road. And also I feel like it's really meaningful work, just feeding people. It makes me feel good. It's, we're doing something that matters.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So it gives us a sense of purpose.
We're doing something right.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. I know. I feel good. So
well, thank you so much for taking the time today and for creating this farm for the community.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.